Well, I hope you had a wonderful Thanksgiving, even though the Chiefs lost. Still kind of a sore subject for us. My family celebrates Thanksgiving, with a traditional Thanksgiving meal, which, as many of you know, doesn't just happen. It doesn't just come together. It takes a heck of a lot of work, which makes me feel all the worse because somehow I ended up with my grandmother's take-home leftovers. Thought Mom was being extra generous, but no, in fact, I stole from my grandmother. It takes a lot of work. It doesn't just happen. So I confess that my part in the preparation is basically driving round trip the 13 or 14 hours, helping Dad with the cleanup, but everybody else has their work. So my siblings live close. They bring some of the sides, the vegetables and sweet potatoes. Dad does the turkey or the turkeys. Mom does the real heavy lifting, and Grandma helped her this year, starting at least a day before, and to prepare, the stuffing, cutting up the bread, and some of us have allergies, so then it's 2 sets of preparations. Of course, the salads, the potatoes, the pies, and this year not only pumpkin pie, but peach pie from my parents' orchard. It was delicious. And then that cranberry thing somehow reappears with maybe never ever really going away. I don't know. It's a lot of work. I just marvel at how it comes together, how the recipes are followed and the meal is prepared. The event, the meal, the menu dictates the proper actions. If you desire a traditional Thanksgiving meal, well, here's what needs to be done in order to achieve it. Christian morality is often, and maybe even typically, considered a list of do's and don'ts. Arbitrary, often, do's and don'ts, thou shalt and thou shalt not. But rightly understood, it's a response to an event, a person, like when we prepare for visitors, or a meal, or a journey. This is what Pope Benedict XVI had in mind with his memorable line, "Being Christian is not the result of an ethical choice or a lofty idea, but the encounter with an event, a person, which gives life a new horizon and its decisive direction." Not as though we reasoned our way to it or thought, what's a really hard way of living? Okay, let's do that. It might be difficult, but that's not how it originates. It's an encounter with the risen person of Jesus Christ, which then sets us off in a new direction. This is what also underpinned Paul's encouragement in the second reading. You know the time. It is the hour now for you to awake from sleep, for our salvation is nearer now than when we first believed. The night is advanced, the day is at hand. The day has come, so live in that day. Don't fall back into the darkness of night. Let us then throw off the works of darkness and put on the armor of light. And what's the armor of light? Well, he tells us, put on the Lord Jesus Christ and make no provision for the desires of the flesh, that fallen part of us. No. You've been enlightened by him. Clothe yourself with the pattern of his life. Calls to my mind that remarkable line of C.S. Lewis. He said, I believe in Christianity as I believe that the sun has risen, not only because I see it, but because by it I see everything else. Isn't that great? I believe in Christianity as I believe that the sun has risen, not only because I see the content of the faith, not only because I see Christians at work, but because by it, by Christianity, by the faith, it sheds light on everything else. I can actually see things as they are. I can see the pitfalls in life, so I don't live my life in vain. But this also was the approach that Jesus took. You see, the Jews didn't heed his warning to beat their swords into plowshares. So Jesus was predicting that as a consequence, the Roman army will sweep in and catch people off guard like the flood did. taking some of the men who were in the field and some of the women grinding grain all the way back with them to Rome after they would destroy the temple and Jerusalem, which actually happened less than 40 years after Jesus uttered those words. Be prepared, he's saying. This is really going to happen. As we hear in other Gospels, he says, if you're out in the field, don't go back to your house and try to get your stuff to take with you. No, you'll likely be captured. This is going to happen. Be prepared. This event is coming. Friends, the church presents us with these readings as Advent begins because the coming of the Romans, for which Jesus urges his listeners to prepare, has traditionally been read as the type of readiness Christians should have for when the Son of Man comes, as he wove into that account today. When he comes at our death, at the end of time, and by extension, at Christmas. The logic goes, as we're prepared to celebrate Jesus' birth, so we'll be ready for his coming, whenever that might be. The light of the world has already flickered upon us. The bright midday sun is coming. What is it needs to be done in your life to prepare for that event? Be more attentive to your spouse, to your children, at Mass. Pray more, read the Bible more, every week, every day. Reduce time in front of a device, in front of the TV. Shop less, argue less, have to be right less, roll your eyes less. Give more of yourself. Whatever it is, do that this Advent.